Whoa.
Okay.
Daniel, building a remarkable personal brand isn't just about building better content or prettier designs. Let's start with something tactical, Daniel. Now, in your content and in your discussions, you've mentioned that most people, in your experience, operate at 50% of their potential. Maybe even low. Daniel, what are the first signs someone's hiding their dick? Oh, I'm sorry. What are the first signs someone's hiding parts of their identity? Daniel Brenneman. And what signals tell you that they're playing small?
Listen, I am a metaphor guy, so let's carry the metaphor. They're hiding it with their proverbial stomach. It's everything they add on. Everything they add on.
We got to invite Brenneman back to the show because he's playing along perfect with us, man.
Yeah, he's running the pack here, man. Shit, I don't even think I could be leading it like this. God damn.
He's speaking our language.
I'm a storyteller.
I love it. Brenneman. Keep going, brother.
No, but listen, seriously though, it's what everyone adds on. You hear all this advice that you got to build your personal brand for those you speak to. You got to build your personal brand for the audience. You got to find them, all this stuff. But the reality is you have to figure out who you are, because otherwise it's not sustainable. You will burn out. You will not be able to see. You will lose yourself. One of the illustrations I use is stacking blocks. If I am going to stack a personal brand up, I don't just start moving upwards, because what happens is I will make compromises inevitably without a good foundation. If I make a compromise to the left a little bit, I have to make another compromise to the right. And so what I preach is, before you get to content, before you get to platform, you have to have foundation. And when you understand that, you can build a tower as tall as you want, because you have the right language to ensure that you are building in alignment. And so, again, going back to the gut analogy, when people start adding things on, they add a gut and that gets them off balance.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll fall. Eventually they'll crumble under the weight of the things they put on that are not naturally them.
Johnny, I know this is resonating for you, brother.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I love to strip things down and make it simple. But if you can get down to who you are and you can be unapologetically yourself, then a whole lot of this fucking red tape gets out of your way. And it's just, I think it's almost being unapologetically yourself. It gives you a very clear roadmap, or a very clear, I guess you'd say, blueprint on what you're building. You don't know what you're building. What are you going to do? How are you going to stack those blocks if you don't really know what you're building?
Yeah. So Daniel, here's a point question for you, a tactical question. And I want so address Marty, Richie, and our audience right now who's struggling with content creation. Now, I'm not suggesting Richie or Marty are, but let's use them as our audience.
Sure.
Walk us through your content creation system. How do you structure your day? You're a busy dude, man. You got kids, you got family, you got business, you're fucking stacking habits, you got a busy calendar. How do you structure your day to consistently produce video content? What needs to happen every morning to keep your brand building momentum? Because we talk about consistency and accountability. But Daniel, how do you do it, man? How do you do it? What's your magic?
So I am a little contrary in this. A lot of people will teach pillars. I teach playgrounds. So pillars are rigid, playgrounds are free. They allow creativity. And so what I'll do is I have a playground in which I play. I look at my values, my experiences, my frustrations, and really the truest thing you can say is you attract who you are. And when I boil down why, it's those three things: your values, your frustrations, your experiences. And so I build a playground with those three things and say, all right, within this playground, what do I want to talk about today? What is the message that I want to get across? What's the message that my audience needs to hear? And what is the message that the people that I'm attracting are going to resonate with? And so there are a lot of people that will plan out content, and I do fresh content every morning, my post on the spot, because I will bank content ideas, just stories and things that happen throughout the day, because I believe that most of our learnings come from our lives. I'll pull something and look in that playground and say, how do I want to build the slide today? How do I want to navigate the monkey bars today? And I will just sit there and create from my heart, create from who I am. And not to say I won't ever create content from a scheduled content or on a content calendar, but having that playground allows me to be more free, more creative, and doesn't stifle what I have to do. And what I'll try to do is I'll try and think loosely and say, I want to tell a couple stories. I want to teach a couple things. And then Friday, I will talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. I call it Fun Fridays, and I'm going to let you know me, because it's a personal brand for a reason. If you don't get to know me, you get to know my skill set. And I'm not about to do that. So I will structure in that format, 80% my skill sets, what I'm doing business, 20% the personal. But it's very much playground versus pillar, because I am a creative at heart, and that really works for me in allowing me to do just what's hit me in the moment.
There certainly is a not a right answer. Some are all about, I need to create my content on the fly. Some are all about, I'm going to create a month's worth of content and put it into the calendar. But you're a creative spirit, right? I know I worked with Marty. Marty's a creative spirit. Johnny, I know you create a bunch of content in advance. I don't know if it's a right or a wrong. It just, I guess, what was working best for us. Daniel?
Yes, absolutely. And I would wager a guess that there is probably playgrounds already built in y'all's systems that you think in terms of playground as well as pillars, if you are subscribing to pillars, because you're consistent, because you're effective. I think the important part is putting language to that. That's where a lot of people go wrong, because if you don't have language, then that's where imposter syndrome creeps in. That's where you worry that the rug's gonna be pulled out from under you, because I can't explain the success I'm having because it's something that is innate to what I do. So you put language to it, you can begin to now understand why, and you can understand exactly how, when, and what happens when that inspiration occurs.
So Daniel, is language in your terms, and I know we got to keep rocking and rolling here, we're going to wrap it up here, but Daniel, is language in your terms the same idea as boundaries? We talk with AJ Zeglin, our Mindfield expert, about creating boundaries, and often we think about boundaries as a negative. But I think what you're saying is language creates structure around the playground. Am I correct?
Yes, it's structure. I think there is a level of boundaries to it, yes. But the word boundaries, I think, implies restriction. And so someone once told me language is a window into culture. And I never want the culture to be restrictive. So I think structure is a better word than boundaries. But yes, it absolutely gives a framework on which you can build rather than wandering aimlessly in the abyss.
I like that. Say that again. Language is a view into culture?
Language is a window into culture. You listen to how someone talks, you listen to the words they use, you will understand who they are.
Fuck, I love that. And Marty, I'm looking at you, brother, because since I've known you, you've talked about your journey going through basketball, being exposed to many different cultures and so forth. And when Daniel says that, I think about you, Marty, because of the power of language, wherever you were. You talked about the different cultures and races and economic lifestyles you've been a part of. But the common theme, Marty, is language, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely language. At the end of the day, we all speak the same, not literally English, but we all speak the same language. We're more similar than we think.
Yes.
Despite everything. And when Daniel mentioned you're going to find your audience, basically you go up there, you give your style of that, and you're going to attract the people that fit your style. So you're going to basically attract what you are, just like Daniel said. So
I love that. Daniel Brenneman, I'd like to have you come back and talk about playgrounds. I think there's some. I think we can probably dig deeper into that. I haven't heard that analogy before, and I know we talk often about pillars, but let's have you back in the future and talk about playgrounds. But before we do that, how can Business Athlete, how can LinkedIn Nation, how can the world find Daniel Brenneman before we say goodbye and bring in Jory Jansen for the protein break and John Anderson's lifestyle tip? Daniel, where can we find you?
LinkedIn is where I am most active. It's where you'll find me. And then danielbrenneman.com. You can find more information there. But those are the two places. Come find me on LinkedIn. We'll chop it up, hang out, build a community there.
Awesome. Final words from you, Brenneman. Anything you want to say before you say goodbye?
Hey, go be remarkable, fam. Love y'all.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Daniel Brenneman joining us here.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it, man.
That's awesome.